Grades aren't cars. We see how some schools work, simply passing a child along without providing the skills they need to become successful adults.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
It's time to put children ahead of the groups that care only about the needs of adults.
And it's about the kids, it's not about them, it's not about the big salaries. It's not about saving face, it's about the children.
Labor unions are focused on the needs of their members. That's true in the automotive industry and in education.
They're protecting their own turf. I believe we've got so much into turfism here in America, into protecting the bureaucracy of the education, protecting the bureaucracy of the unions, and we forget this all started out about educating kids.
During the last half of the 20th century, American drivers favored foreign cars over American models. Yet auto unions still demanded the best for their members, not considering the impact on American automakers. Education is not the auto industry. Our schools are not producing vehicles. They should be preparing students with the skills they need for life. The focus must be what's best for children.
K is used after long vowels fly.
John Boyle is a former Ford vice president whose area of expertise is pensions. He currently operates a consulting firm and is a professor at Eastern Michigan University.
How accountable are the teachers? I mean, when for the most part they can't be fired. When for the most part the head of the education, the National Education Association, once told Milton Friedman, and Milton Friedman wrote this up in an article that I have, that Milton Friedman asked him, he says, when are you going to start making the children a priority, making their education a priority? And the head of the National Education Association said, we will make the children a priority when they join our union.
School unions protect something called tenure. Tenure basically guarantees a teacher a job for life based on years of service, not their effectiveness in the classroom.
He and I run.
Start reviewing the teachers and take away their tenures if they're not high-performing teachers. Start putting our children first.
I know originally when they talked about tenure, there was people who were fired because of their religion or because of their race, and those days are over. I mean, you're not going to get fired for that.
And thanks to the union, ineffective teachers are protected by tenure because there's no incentive to perform well. Stephen Beecher, a former union president in the Wayne Westland School District, says teachers who are not educating students need to be removed from the classroom.
No matter what profession it is, you're going to have a small percentage of people who don't belong there, whether they're working on the line at Ford or they're a lawyer or a doctor. They don't deserve the position they have. They're not giving a day's work for a day's pay, and unfortunately there are a few teachers like that.
Meet Arch Lewis, a representative of the Michigan Education Association. He says it's not so hard to fire a teacher.
That certainly is the rumor, isn't it? But I think you'd find out that the reality is something quite different. I mean, that's a little bit like...
It's been reported in the Grand Rapids Press and elsewhere that districts have paid a lot of money
out
to teachers to get rid of teachers that have done heinous crimes.
Well, here's the deal. They probably have. No. I'm sure that a teacher has committed a heinous crime. Just like I'm sure that a policeman has committed a heinous crime. I'm pretty sure that a doctor's committed a heinous crime. I'm pretty sure that the local barber someplace has committed a heinous crime. I don't care what segment of society you're in, that happens. But we have a process in this country that we all value, and that is simply this. I can't just say you committed a heinous crime. I have an obligation to prove it, because everybody is presumed what? Innocent until proven guilty. Everybody deserves that protection.
But Scott Reeder, a former State House reporter, investigated tenure in Illinois. This is what he found.
I read through every teacher dismissal case over an 18-year period in the state of Illinois and tracked every one of them, what the results of them were. And it was just kind of stunning. I expected the numbers to be relatively low, but it wasn't. When the teacher unions were saying, this is a common practice in Illinois, and when I sat down and started going through them, and I found out on average only 7 tenure teachers are fired in the state of Illinois every year. And even more telling is that only 2 of those 7 are fired for poor performance. The other 5 are fired usually for issues of gross misconduct, like inappropriately touching a student or doing something like that. So it was really, really, really rare that somebody was just fired for doing a bad job.
We should celebrate and reward good teachers, and the inadequate ones should be held accountable. But this is the system. Instead of firing a bad teacher, many districts will simply pay that teacher to go away, avoiding a legal fight. It takes a lot of money to dismiss a tenured teacher. Tenure is a practice that doesn't help educate children. As a matter of fact, tenure gives school leaders and parents little control or influence. Reader found when districts pay a bad teacher to go away, it's called passing the trash or the dance of the lemons.
It could be a guarantee of life insurance or health insurance for a number of years. It could be, I found cases, where somebody was just simply given a settlement of $70,000 or $30,000, or sometimes the settlement will come with a guarantee that they'll be given a good reference. And sadly, I found some cases where teachers accused of abusing children, sexually abusing children, have been given good references in exchange for being allowed to resign and other things. And that's just, to me, utterly shameful that that's going on. And the blame is not just there with the unions, it's also with the administration, it's also with the school board. What you'll hear from the school boards is, well, we had to do this or we'd spend all this money to fire the teacher. Well, I think at some point somebody has to stand up and say, we don't leave other children vulnerable to an abuser because we're afraid of spending some money. And but we found a number of cases where that's happened.
Have you, in your research, did you see where a district refused to do some sort of a payout or a settlement or whatever you want to call it, and they said, no, we are putting our foot down and we are going to see this through?
No, I didn't.
This happens all across the country. Here's a report from Michigan. In 2008, a Grand Rapids press reporter did a series on tenure. A Godwin Heights teacher received a positive letter of recommendation after being fired for unprofessional conduct and received a payoff of over $58,000. In West Ottawa District, another teacher got a big payday to leave after giving tests to students with the correct answers highlighted. And in Zeeland, a teacher got more than $78,000 to leave the school after he reportedly told a student he loved her and was caught drinking alcohol in the classroom. So now he's free to go to a different school district and start all over again. To help protect children, lawmakers in different states look to change tenure laws. Some are following the model set up by Illinois. It didn't stop the dance of the lemons, but it did make the secret deals public. Indiana State Senator Jim Merritt from Indianapolis tried to do the same thing for his state.
I like to refer to as Protect Teachers Act. We believe that these side deals, these quiet, unknown deals, should be out there so that those teachers that are the good quality teachers are protected, students are protected, and administrators are protected, and people understand and know what is going on.
The state superintendent of public instruction, Dr. Tony Bennett, says this would be a great tool to protect children.
If I'm a superintendent and I have an applicant in front of me, unless I know the superintendent or individuals from the school corporation that I am hiring an applicant from, there is nothing to stop an Indiana school corporation from entering into an agreement with an employee who has committed some act of indiscretion where that employee gets a neutral or positive evaluation in exchange for a resignation. So it's not unheard of for a teacher to commit an act of indiscretion with a student. Investigation ensues. As part of that investigation and those findings, the employee resigns. School corporation agrees to provide a neutral or positive reference. And then that adult can go apply for a position in a school corporation in another area of Indiana or even in another state and have the opportunity to do the same thing to another child.
This bill got nowhere thanks to the Indiana State Teachers Association. We tried to talk to the leaders of the ISTA about this. No one from the union returned our calls or emails. The closest we got to an answer was from Union President Nate Snellenberger. He was quoted in the Indianapolis Star as being concerned that the legislation might upset collective bargaining agreements.
I want them to care about the kids, okay? Not care about a paycheck, but care about the well-being of that child. Care about him getting educated to go on to high school, then on to college.
But Schellenberger did agree that those convicted of crime should be removed from the classroom. Still, the bill died in committee, and instead of dumping bad teachers, the dance of the lemons continues.
Almost 300 school corporations across the state of Indiana and read their mission statements. And I promise you on every one of those mission statements, you will most likely read a phrase that says, blank school corporation will provide students with a safe and ... environment. Well, if we're not willing to make sure that the adult professionals who are working with our children have the highest moral character, are free from any legal problems created by previous acts, then we're really not living up to those mission statements. So to me, this is a common sense measure to ensure the safety and well-being of our students and to really hold the education profession to the high standard that as a profession it deserves.
Now picture this.
Gayleen is from McCutcheon High School.
A teacher recognized statewide for superior performance, then getting fired the next day.
But in the very same week, McCutcheon High School notified her that her future service is no longer needed.
What's interesting is I lost my job for sure on Friday, and then my hubby lost his job on Tuesday.
Based on seniority, last hired, first fired. Other good teachers were fired because they lacked seniority. They hadn't been teaching long enough to be protected by tenure.
And there's a reason seniority was created. It's to honor the experience and commitment that people give to a school district.
But as more people are demanding accountability from schools, they want to separate the good teachers from the ineffective ones. They want to show productive teachers they are appreciated and reward them. People also want teachers, whether they're ineffective or displaying inappropriate or worse criminal behavior, to be held accountable for their actions. Tenure and seniority may find their days are numbered, as some look to give parents and school leaders more power to help ensure students are getting the best teachers. How much longer are we willing to wait for something to be done? This is one of 9 films in the Kids Aren't Cars series. To see them all, go to the website, kidsaren'tcars.com.